Well, hello and welcome back to the tower. So I do need to get started, so we're going to do this kind of quick because it is late and I don't want to be up later than I need to be. So we have to get started immediately, and that's just the way it works in this world. Do I have enough? Yes. Everything is so expensive. Oh, I have a gun? Okay. So let's see. And I know this is unusual. Hey Ricky, how you doing? But as I said, I have a problem I have to deal with tomorrow, so I'll be unable to stream. So let's see. Card set, modules set, and upgraded. Is there anything else? Answer is no. Hey Casey, how you doing? Yeah, I won't be able to stream tomorrow, so like I was like, yeah, I was gonna skip streaming the tournament. Then everybody's like, well, why don't you stream it Tuesday? I'm like, well, I have a thing Tuesday too. I'll stream it after the thing. So here we are. But honestly, once the tournament is done, I have to go. And let's see, how does targeting work? Okay. All right, I still have some things I gotta get up. Yeah, it is a late night stream. That is correct. I'm hoping the tournament really doesn't take too long, and then I can go to bed. But we will find out if that's going to be the case in a moment. All right, let me get all this stuff set up. Oh, no. Yeah, like I was just not going to stream, and everybody's like, well, stream Tuesday. I'm like, you know, I got a thing. Hey, Virus, how you doing? Yes, I do have a thing tomorrow. I was like, I have a guest staying with me, and I don't have a room that I stream in. I stream in my living room, so I won't be able to stream. So I think I got most of the things. Let me get the alert out, and then I'll say hello to everybody. Yeah, I usually don't have things happen in my life because I usually, I try to live a quiet life. And a quiet life means you don't have anything ever happen to you in the real world, right? That's the best way to do things. And yeah, this is not not going that way. Oh man. Hold on, let me do you. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me just finish getting set up, and then we'll talk about that because that was my personal take on it. Is mountain out of molehill, but I want to get into more detail about that. But first, I want to get my last thing set up. I think a very small thing got blown up into a bigger thing than it probably should have, but that's the internet. That's what we do here. Okay, hold on. Hey, Ricky. Hey, Casey. Hey, Virus. How is everybody doing tonight? Obviously, I am tired, but, I promised you guys I would stream tonight. I said I would try, and we're here. We're trying our best, Hey, Glenn. Good morning and good night. Yes, that is correct. It is late. Like I said, I told you guys I have a thing tomorrow, so I promised. I said I would try, and then I'm like, well, I guess we're trying for real. Oh, nice. So now I'm your late night work company, I guess. I honestly have no idea at this point, Casey. I was saving them for the Well, I mean, I know I was saving them for the pulls, and now we don't have a featured banner, and I don't know what's going on anymore with this game. Somebody did ask me about the Fudds drama. I don't, like, to me, that's, like, hardly drama. It's just, Fudds said something, he got downvoted, he got offended, he got downvoted. Was it said in the best way possible? No, it wasn't. I mean, is it even something worth getting upset over? Probably not. I feel like it was a classic case of just shooting the messenger who was like, yeah, we don't have a banner, sorry. Oh, you got to nap on the job? That's nice. Okay, where can I get paid to sleep? That sounds like I would love to have a job where I get paid to sleep. I might actually sleep more if I got paid to sleep. That would be good. I'm just super tired. You know, it wasn't a good week anyways, and now it became an even worse week, and it's just going to be a terrible week. It's just what it is. All we can do is overcome things. Hey, Orm. No, Orm, I guess you missed it last stream. Like, I can't do it tomorrow because I have I stream in my living room. I live in a one-bedroom apartment. I'm going to have company tomorrow. I didn't want to try to stream and deal with all that while everything was going on. So, I mentioned that last stream. Look, I'm probably just not going to do a stream. And then everybody was like, well, why don't you stream on Tuesday? There's a day before today. It's called Tuesday. And I'm like, well, and we're probably going to hear this story multiple times, but I don't care. I enjoy telling it. So I was like, well, I guess I'll try to stream. Oh, congrats, Glenn. Like, basically, I'm going to be a little bit honest. I did feel like you guys guilted me a little bit into it, because I was like, I guess I could stream on Tuesdays. And then I was looking at something and trying to make a decision on something else, and here we are. We're streaming, we made it, we're surviving. But I will say, like, as soon as I am done with this tournament, I am going to bed. I am so going to bed. I don't even know what my bracket is because I just popped in. Because, like, I like, as soon as I started the stream, I made sure my cards were set. I made sure my modules were set. I made sure everything was set. And I jumped in because I don't have time to sit here. Oh, God, it's enemy. Oh, my God. No, we're just going to send it. Like, I'm going to say this. We're just going to send this, and if it turns out we think I can do better, I'll do better later. Hey, Josh, how you doing? So, wow, congrats, Virus. What? That's crazy. That is a lot of extra coins. What was your previous device? That's wild. Like, was it a really old device? I know the tower has a whole thing about phones. Yeah, Josh, like I've said to everybody, I have a thing tomorrow. Oh, yeah, an Amazon tablet. Those are, yeah, that's, if it was a bottom of the basement tablet, like it sounds like, you probably were CPU starved. But yeah, Josh, what happened was I have a thing tomorrow. I'm gonna have somebody over. I stream in my living room, so it was like gonna be really awkward for me to have somebody here while I'm trying to stream and all that. And so I was like, guys, I just think I can't stream. Hey, Ned. Hey, Outclouded. How you doing? And then everybody was like, well, why don't you stream on Tuesday? I'm like, well, I got something on Tuesday. And really, this isn't the ideal time for me to join the tournament. And so anyways, well, everybody's like, stream on Tuesday. And I was like, okay, I guess. And here we are. Ricky, it depends on... It depends on the tablet. Because I believe the Pad 2 is also a tablet. It's just a more powerful tablet. Hey, the one below all, how you doing? Well, I'm hoping that this won't take so long, and this is the famous last words, you know what I mean? Hey, Twilight, how you doing? You know, very, very, very much famous last words here, you know? We're gonna see what happens. I mean, worst case is worst case is I don't get to... when I plan this out, I'm like, okay. If I wanted to start a little bit early, I was hoping I'd start at 11:30. Don't get me started on how I got distracted. But I was like, okay, if I start at 11:30, I should be done by 1. And if I get to bed at 1, we're good, you know? So, okay, we started at 12, we get to bed at 1:30, that should be fine. Yeah, and Ricky, it all depends on the device. If the device is strong enough, it's good enough. If I had IS Mastery, dude, we'd be doing like a 10-minute stream, and I'd be like, good night, guys. Oh, Ned went SM. What did you get, Ned? What did you get? Did you get cooldown? Oh, Josh, so that is the quote-unquote drama of the hour around the tower. So what happened is Fudds basically said, yeah, we didn't have another banner lined up. We did, I guess what Fudd said was that he said something like, I don't even know what he said exactly. It's been a while. He basically said, like, there wasn't always going to be a feature banner planned every 2 weeks. I'll be honest. Yes, we did get 30 medals. I was reading between the lines, and this is what I felt, guys. The magnetic hook core sucked. I'm going to tell you what I'm saying. I think this is what happened. Oh, wow, Ned, that should be a huge jump. I'm going to tell you what I think happened. How did you lose progress, Josh? That sucks. I think the magnetic hook module nobody bought it. Nobody cared about magnetic hook. It wasn't a module anybody was excited about compared to Project Farm. Whatever it was. Project Finisher. Whatever the generator was, right? So they didn't see nearly as many gems spent on the banner. When they didn't see nearly as many gems spent on the banner... Oh, damn. Oh. Project funding. Thank you, Glenn. Anyways, that was a good one. Everybody piled into it because it's basically a generator that does DPS, right? Nobody, I think, really got excited about Magnetic Hook. When they saw nobody was excited about the Magnetic Hook banner, I think they're like, uh-oh, and going back to the drawing board because they really wanted these feature banners that run every 2 weeks to be a big draw to the game. And they obviously can't come out and say, yeah, you guys just didn't buy enough of the thing, so we didn't put another one out. And, obviously he can't say that, right? Like, that just looks like super greedy and ridiculous. And, so he didn't know how to... Hey, Chen, how you doing? And so he didn't know how to phrase it. What he said on Reddit didn't really go over well because it's like, why wouldn't you always have a feature banner? Everybody expected it, you know. Because here's the problem. This is the two problems we're having now. Is now the community's like, oh, I need to save up 10,000 gems for a feature banner because it could be, hey, Bunch, how you doing? Bunch, I can't stream tomorrow, so we're doing it tonight. This is an exception, not a rule. So, Ricky, you might be better. Orem, I actually don't even know. I don't even... That's the thing that gets me. Like, how do they not see that the module sucked? You know what I mean? Alex, I don't. Yeah, I do need sleep, but it's a thing. You know, it's a complicated situation. So, given that nobody spent on the magnetic hook and it was the new one, and then it's like, oh wow, wasn't good. We thought it would be good. I legitimately think it's oh shoot, this wasn't good. Oh shoot, now the player base knows that they need to always have 10,000 gems, so now the feature banner thing isn't the draw. Like, I almost feel like it's projections, right? Like, they sat down and they did a projection on what was going to be good. You know, what they thought the feature banner was going to bring in, right? And they did the and Ned knows what I'm talking about. And they did their projections and their modeling, and they said, okay, everybody should get super pumped about these. We're expecting this to happen, and this to happen. And, you know, I can't not pretend these things don't happen behind the scenes, right? I mean, it does happen. We all know it. Everybody knows it. And, or if you don't know it, now you're learning. And so we're learning together. And anyways, I feel like the projection for project funding was great. Magnetic hook was not, and then it's like, do we do another feature banner because it's not bringing in what we expect? Virus Zero, that's exactly what I said, but here's why I think they didn't do that. I honestly feel like they didn't do a filler banner virus because they're like, oh well, we can't, you know. They wanted to get everybody to buy gems and FOMO in. Exactly. What they didn't realize is everybody saw the crappy magnetic hook, saved up their gems, and that the next banner they were going to already have the gems saved up, so they wouldn't need to buy gems. And by doing that, they just totally screwed up their whole plan. And so they pulled the next banner not knowing what to do. I 100% believe that's what happened. And the thing is, now the player base is pissed. Not like pissed, but like, oh, so do I have to sit on 10,000 gems now in case a banner pops up? So the player base is angry because they set the expectation and then they didn't follow through. And Fudds didn't really say it the best way. And so, but like what happened is Fudds was just like trying to be the messenger and be like as diplomatic as possible. As like, we never really planned to have banner after banner. That was not going to be a thing. Because I think he was basically trying to buy time so people just burn the gems on something else. Like what Ned said, they screwed up the velocity of gem spending, and now people are hoarding again, and now everybody's going to start hoarding, and now it's just like... And now they don't know what to do. Because basically, if they always have a banner out, you just train everybody to save up the gems until it's a good banner, right? Like, nobody's going to spend on Havocbringer. Nobody's going to spend on Ohm Chip. Nobody's going to spend on any of the armor ones, really, except ACP. So... It's like... What's the thing? Expectations versus reality? That's my honest thing that I feel like happened. And I don't even feel like a lot of people just think he's greedy. I don't even think it's like a greed thing. I think it's like, you know, we have certain amount of expenses and stuff like this for the business that we need to keep, you know, to keep the business afloat, to keep the, you know, they have salaries to pay and stuff like that. I don't know how lucrative the game is. So I'm not really judging too hard from that. I mean, I know it is up there with the mobile spend, right? Yeah, that's Casey. That's what a lot of people said, that Fudds obviously shouldn't be the messenger because he wasn't able to convey the message correctly. I don't think the community is hostile as much as you have you'll in any game like this where there are pay to win elements, you always end up with two factions. There's one faction, and you actually need this faction. These are the people that just legitimately will never spend anything on your game. They are effectively the minnows that the whales feed on, right? They outnumber the whales, so they get angry about anything that seems to encourage them to spend money, right? That's just what they do. Anything that they can miss out on, they get angry about. Anything that's FOMO that they think they can't purchase, they get mad about. And they're the largest amount of your player base. Okay. And again, and the free to play people can also see that, okay, well, it's allegedly generating $1 million a month. So I'd round it down probably. I'd probably round it down to like 10 million. I know he has a couple developers on the team. I'm sure they actually get paid probably pretty well. Yeah, Orem, I don't know how they didn't see it either, because I feel like anybody would say, like, okay, well, you're just going to encourage people to save up for the good banners. That's just what you're going to do. You know, not all banners are created equal. Hey, Omega, how you doing? And so, you know, like, let's say it's 10 million after tax, it's 7.5 million, give or take. Oh, really? He's 3 mil a month. Okay, that's more than I expected. I didn't know that he actually confirmed, because look, guys, if I ever make my game, I'm not confirming any figures unless I'm a publicly traded company, because I feel like that just puts blood in the water, right? Because you're gonna have some people think that, oh wow, you greedy asshole, and you know, maybe I am being greedy. I don't know. And that's kind of wild to say the salaries aren't that expensive, because with the amount of money the game was making, I would expect the developers. Oh, okay. That was stupid of him. I would expect every developer working on the tower would be making like 150 to 300,000. Easy. I would expect probably a base salary of 150 plus like some kind of bonus, right? Like some kind of profit sharing kind of thing, you know what I mean? Wow, I didn't know that. If anybody has a screenshot of that and can post it in the Discord, I would love to see it. Yeah. I honestly didn't think he was making 3 million a month. I thought maybe, I was thinking like maybe if he was lucky, he might make, you know, 10 mil a year, maybe. 10 mil to me was still high. Yeah, Virus, if you can take a screenshot too, please. I never would have guessed it was that high. And like, we do also need to take that with a grain of salt, right? Because he clearly could be bragging, because we all know people like to brag like they make more money than they really do. And usually they add like 20% to that, which still, okay, 3 mil a month, you take 80% of that, that's you know, we'll say like 2.5, which is still a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But they do like to do that. Also, like, I kind of see the tower, the way I see it for him is, yeah, gross isn't net either. Yeah, just do it on Discord. You know, I can post it. I can cross post it. It's certainly like, so we're gonna do some rounding, right? We're gonna say 2.5 gross. You have taxes and all that. You have expenses. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 30% seems about right for a software company. Depending on salaries, that means he's probably not, paying people very well, but, whatever. I would think that they, assuming the developers are actually pretty good, I assume they would make a decent amount of money for a game like this. Because that means if we do 2.5, we'll do it 25 mil. And we'll say 70% of that. That's about 17.5 a year, which is, look, if you told me he was making the business was making 17.5 a year, I never would have believed it. It depends, Omega. Like a software engineer, you work at Facebook. Usually net it's less than, it's between less than 1% to 3%. I'm doing the tournament right now, Omega. This is the tournament. We're doing it right now. I had to do it right now. Because I have the company coming. So I have people in my house. It's going to be a mess. Well, it's actually my tiny apartment. Let me be very clear here. I live in a tiny apartment. That's why I have to do it now. That's why my studio's in my living room, because I have a bedroom and a living room. That's it. Just to be very clear here, this is not on my yacht or something like that. It's in my tiny apartment. Usually I have a studio apartment. It's yeah, B Taylor, if 20% was buying the stone pack a month, that's extremely high. Most people don't spend that much. It's usually between less than one, I forget, it's like, I think because the tower is, with stone packs, I would say sort of more generous than most mobile games. I would peg it between 1 and 3%, usually. And then that's, and I forget what the statistics were, because it's gotten so bad with mobile games. Yeah, it does, Ned. You're right. So that is in the ballpark. You can just post it in the tower general discussion. Nobody's gonna moderate you for something Fudds posted. But I will say this. Yeah, I don't know. I think he said 30% of the purchases were going through Xwalla. So it's not like a ton of people are even using Xwalla, because it's probably like something most people aren't used. Not only do people not usually do it, because it requires you to leave the game and make the purchase, I imagine a lot of people just aren't even aware. You know what I mean? There's an awareness problem. Because of how he has to advertise it outside of the game to not make the store owners mad. Yeah, you can, Bunch. You can. Also, you have to remember, too, the Apple tax guys, which Apple and Android as well, they take 30% right off the top. So he only gets 70% of everything. So you got to remember that. So, like, oh, is your 300, is that the 70%, Ned? Yeah, that is, because it's like, that is, right? Yeah, like somebody has gifted me some gift cards to get the weekly thing. That is going to be really interesting, Virus, because I didn't know all this. This is why I would never talk money, and if I did talk money, I would because it becomes such a thorny thing, right? And the thing is, what I was trying to say earlier is the tower just was lightning in the bottle for him. It just happened to be the game that took off, you know? And so it depends, Alex, because I've heard a lot of people are unhappy with how expensive the new top end upgrades are. I'm not saying he didn't put in the work, Ned. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this game became lightning in a bottle, right? He made at least two other games that I know of, Planet Miner and Brick Breaker, that I know of. And please do not think I'm denegregating his effort, because obviously he put a lot of work and he actually made a game that actually took off, okay? That's actually really hard to do. I don't even expect, like, if my game that's an idea, I don't even expect it to take off. I expect maybe we'll play it. And honestly, if I could get like 1% of my subs to play the game regularly, and I'll be honest, it's not going to be like crazy. I'm not going to go for something, especially not my first game, to be something crazy like the tower in terms of spend. We're going to have ads. We're going to do ads in the ad-free package, and that's about as much as I'm going to do. Maybe some in-game purchases, but I don't really want it to be super pay to win, you know? He was a chemical engineer from what I remember. I thought it was chemical, could have been petroleum. And he basically, hey, okay, how you doing? And he basically he was able to quit his job. But what I'm saying is this game is lightning in a bottle, and to me, the hardest part about being in your own business like this, especially as an entertainment product, because that's what this functionally is you never know when that magic's going to go away, right? You never know when the magic of this game, people are just going to lose interest. And that's the hardest part. Because I know a guy who made a game. He made a Hurricane Outbreak. I will be right back. I have to get the door. Hold on. Somebody knocked on my door. Why is somebody knocking on my door? It's late at night. I don't know. I'll be right back. One second, guys. Oh, I don't need the attack skip. It's fine. No, I'm fine, guys. It was just, I think somebody was banging around. Yeah, no, it was... So I sort of agree, but I also feel like it's lightning in a bottle in the sense that there's probably a lot of people that make games that, you know, they have good fundamentals. Like, one of the things I will say, this game does have good fundamentals, but they never, for whatever reason, because, you know, a lot of life is luck, you know, and whether it's bad timing, you know, just something doesn't line up right, you know. So, like, there is a little bit of a luck factor in things. I could be Ned if he's not properly invested. You know, it's hard to say, right? You know, some people get, you know, what is it? The cash flow problem? Like, they get addicted to the cash flow. And then the cash flow, yeah, like sports players is a great example. They get addicted to the cash flow. They don't have a financial plan in place. And then, what's it called? Lifestyle something, they call it. Lifestyle creep or something like that. And then once the money dries up, then you're if you're used to, yeah, lifestyle creep, thank you. Then, you know what? Then all of a sudden you can't afford everything. So I try to stay away from... I've actually done lifestyle creep in the other direction. Yes. Yes, it is, Ned. Low on your cash flow that your money makes, not your money. But anyways... I am honestly shocked he threw some numbers out there. Isn't the 4% rule, you have an investment, you spend 4% of it a year, and you can basically never run out? I'll take a look at it later, Virus. I don't doubt you on what you're saying. I just hadn't seen it myself. I'll take a look right now. Hold on. Wait, where'd you post it? Yeah, 4% only works like, yeah, 97. Oh, you put general down. That's fine. So yeah, it is kind of interesting. How he built it up. That's what happened to my friend. If you look up Hurricane Outbreak, what happened to him is he, Gray still played his game. And he did 2 episodes on it, and that's what happened. He didn't pay for it or anything. Gray still plays, just thought the idea of building up a hurricane was hilarious. My goal, Ned, is to do 2%. If I can, you know, if I get that much money, do 2% is what my goal is. Yeah, exactly. If I ever get there, Ned. Yeah. You can live off about 2% of an investment, Toby, indefinitely. I think 2% will let you account for inflation pretty well, too. Because you basically should hopefully earn like 4%. So you save half and you put the rest in. Of course, there's taxes and stuff like that, too. But if you can live off about 2%, you should be able to do that indefinitely. Oh, it does, Ned? My bad. Look, I'm paranoid, okay? I just would be too paranoid doing it 4%. I don't know why. Well, I know why. Because the worst thing that could happen is I get used to not working and then have to work again. That would be the worst thing. Okay, good night, Ned. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, if you see, the thing is, but the 4% rule, the way it works is you invest, like, so you make it 8% of your Bitcoin, right? You have to invest that other 4% in buying more Bitcoin to account for inflation down the road. The tournament doesn't end till tomorrow, Crash. It's just I started early because I can't stream it tomorrow. Thank you, Orm. You have a good night and happy farming. And you too, Ned. Happy farming. And yeah, please like the stream. It does help out a lot. And I hope everybody has a great farm and a great tournament when you get to it. I don't know what I would do, Alex, to be extremely honest with you. I'm certainly not going to pretend to tell you that if I got, like, I would say probably my drop out of the workforce amount of money would be having $10 million in assets, okay? And that would be pretty liquid assets. And, you know, using the 2% rule, right? That's $200,000 a year. It's extremely unlikely I would ever work again. I can't imagine a job that would be worth it. How is SARS scary? But Alex, it also kind of depends. The tower. Toby? Are you in Discord? Okay. Because I'll post an update, Toby. I'll post an update in Discord after the stream. Okay? So I don't know what I would do. I know I wouldn't be able to work a conventional job. And I'll say this. So much of that depends on how I make that 10 million, right? If I win the $10 million from the lottery, right? I'm done. I'm not working again. It's not even going to be an option for me to work again, right? That's not even going to be on my radar. Or option trading or some other crazy thing, right? If I make the 10 million while building a business, I would probably keep working at building the business I'm working at. It is, Toby, but and that's true. But it depends on how I make the money, a lot. Oh, congrats, Alec. Yeah, package after boss is huge. So it's kind of one of those things, like I for sure would not be working a regular job if I had like 10 mil. It used to be ridiculous too, because you would get that, you had a chance to get 2 packages sometimes because there was the regular package chance plus the package after boss chance, and that all worked for G-Comp. And that's why we don't have a boss every wave anymore. No, at some point they changed it so you had a chance to get 2. I don't remember when that was. Oh, congrats, Toby. Isn't crypto doing pretty good right now too? No, Alex, I'm not a car person. I don't want a fancy car. You know what I want? I want somebody to drive me around. Which nowadays is like, what, Uber X? Oh, is it? You know, honestly, I don't even want to own a Tesla. What I want is Waymo. I don't want to outlay the capital to own a car that's basically going to be a brick in my front yard most of the time. I'd much rather get into a service like Waymo and pay as I go. Because when I looked at the TCO of a car, it's like the TCO is so much. So, Josh, I will say this: people take that quote out of context so much. The "you will own nothing and be happy," without really understanding what the context of the quote is. And the context of the quote actually is this: if we can get transportation costs down to where they're so affordable, it would make more sense to build better products that are very durable, like commercial grade products for everybody. Then, rather than you having a bunch of stuff in your house, it would be more affordable for you to rent what you want on an as-needed basis. Like, sure, that's a really ideal stretch. Congrats, Toby. But I feel like that was the gist of it, and so much of it gets lost in the own nothing part that you like a lot of people don't understand what the concept is. So, like, for example, if you had good public transit, you could not own a car, right? And you probably would be happy. I don't think it's actually wrong in the realm of let them eat cake, because let them eat cake was her being so ignorant that she didn't understand that they didn't have cake to eat. Whereas you will own nothing and be happy basically is saying that the rental cost will make so much more sense for more people to rent instead of own, that more people would be happy doing that. I'm pro UBI. I think we're going to need it sooner rather than later. Well, that's why you can't let it be a monopoly, Omega. You can't let it become a monopoly. You'd have to have competing services. I totally understand that in a concept that it could be. I mean, you're technically right. Everything can tend towards a monopoly, but it doesn't have to tend towards a monopoly. What I would like to think is that, and again, this might not work in America, but I would like to think if a country really wanted to do this, and some countries do, that they would put the proper protections in place so it doesn't end up like that, you know? Well, Toby, we took the mines away from them, and what do? They all play Minecraft. Yeah, no kidding, Alex. And I will say this. I do feel like it's something worth pursuing, even with the risk of a monopolistic company, because I do think it would be a better overall system in an idealistic world. So just because it could get degraded and enshittified doesn't mean we shouldn't try to strive for it. You know, I still think it would be worth it in the long term. And maybe that's naive. It doesn't have to be Omega with the proper protections in place, right? And even still, you have to remember too that like that principle doesn't prevent you from owning something if you want it, right? So if the rental companies got so absurd, you could just go back to owning things. But it's kind of like Waymo, right? I don't want to have a car. I don't want to own a car. I don't want to have the capital cost of owning a car. If I know that my monthly spend on transit, if I like, and I know this because I looked it up, for the lowest cost TCO would be $400 a month, right? If I spend less than $400 a month on Waymo, I'm not spending any more money than what I would be owning, you know? Well, there's at least, what is it, GOG, that lets you have the games that are DMR free, and you download them whenever you want, and they don't take your downloads away, and you can back up your downloads because there's no DRM. You're not wrong, but I also think we can try and do two things at once, right? I will say this, I certainly think we need stronger laws. But that's kind of the thing, Omega. We wouldn't be giving up the power. If you wanted to own, you could choose to own. You know? If you didn't want to own, you could rent. Maybe for you, you need to own a car. But for me, maybe I don't need to own a car, and I could use Waymo. As long as both options are always on the table, both options will always compete with each other. And honestly, even if the rental is that cheap, I don't see a lot of people really embracing renting over owning. The bigger thing to solve is the energy costs. If it was going to happen, Alex, it'd be a generational thing. Right, Josh, but what I'm saying is if you have both options, right? If you can choose to rent or to own, you can do what you want to do for yourself. Oh, funny you bring up the housing market. The housing market is... There's some of that, Omega, but the reality is the housing market is fundamentally an issue where demand has outstripped supply. And we are not building affordable housing to meet the demand. Because housing is fundamentally, the cost of housing is fundamentally related to market scarcity, right? Because the more houses that are available on the market tend to make both the cost of renting and owning go down. But are they empty in desirable locations? I mean, because where I live, demand is oversupply. Now, I will say part of the problem with rentals is based on RealPage. RealPage is functionally acting as a cartel behind the scenes. And that's actually... I would say RealPage is probably more of the problem than anything else in terms of rental prices going up, because part of the problem is we effectively, using RealPage, there is effectively collusion among renters to basically try to have the highest price. Additionally, one of the issues we have is we do not have a taxation system that penalizes people for optimizing for price over occupancy. Because it used to be apartment complexes optimized for occupancy, and they have switched to being optimized for price. And it's one of those things. If you can have 99% occupancy, you charge a lower. Yeah, but in the end, if we choose to work together and exercise the power, we can make the laws what we want them to be. Otherwise, the game is fixed forever and will never have change. And I don't believe the game is fixed forever. Otherwise, what you're saying is, well, if everybody's already a landlord, they're never going to do anything. It's never going to change. And I just don't agree with that. I think we will see change as, especially as more people become aware of it. The biggest thing is awareness, right? Personally, I would like to see the government take an interest in increasing the housing stock like they did after World War II. How I can make that happen, I don't know, but that is something I feel like the government should be doing to increase the supply of homes, to increase the amount of multifamily dwellings. And that is the short-sightedness of this greed, because this greed actually costs everybody costs everybody more in the end. It costs all of us more. I mean, if he... Right, because Omega, fundamentally, the more money you have sloshing around in the economy, the more money everybody makes, and the more better off everyone, and the pie just grows for everyone. That's the reality. Like take it to the opposite extreme, right? Like, we're all living in poverty. Like, how much is my labor worth if I'm living in poverty? You know? Oh God, tariffs. It's like one of those things. If you want your population to make as much money as possible, you want a highly educated population. Excuse me. Because a highly educated population is the most productive population. They create the most innovation. Innovation, drives more productivity, and it also drives more higher GDP and all factors of economic growth, right? And I mean, just look at Silicon Valley and how that has grown and has made so much money. And you want to try and stimulate that everywhere. And the way you do that is by increasing the amount of money circulating in the economy, focusing on funding education and increasing the amount of people that are educated. And if you do all those things, you build a more robust economy because you're building a stronger knowledge economy. And it is an economy that's not based on ripping stuff out of the ground. Because there's only so much stuff in the ground, and once you rip it all out, you're done. Bizarrely, Toby, I actually read an article today that if everybody, that, believe it or not, and I couldn't believe this, that if the trade war blows up, but everybody ends up actually wanting to negotiate to end the trade war, we could actually end up better off. But this is a bunch of economists who did this simulation, where basically they created this huge trade war, but they fundamentally wanted to resolve the trade war, and they ended up making it better for everybody. The problem is, it was a bunch of economists that did it, and a lot of people engaging in the trade war, yeah. It's not really destroy and rebuild. Let's pretend, Toby, you're a competing country to me, and I start slapping tariffs against you, and you start slapping tariffs against me, and we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If we actually are trying to communicate and saying, I'm putting these tariffs on you because you're doing this, will you stop doing this? And we eventually come to an agreement and say, okay, we actually try to come to an agreement about being more open and working together, that it could result in a good outcome. I can't remember the article. I saw it and I'm like, wow, that's actually hopeful and optimistic. And it's a shame that study was done by smart people. What happens if dumb people do it? The closest thing I can compare it to something that actually happened is back when the United States and Russia both actually were working together to reduce their nuclear stockpiles. That's right. Game theory says that cooperation always wins out. There's a whole thing on that. If you have in any game theory system where you give a certain scoring where, I don't remember the exact scoring. I think it was, except Elon's not the one driving the tariffs. That's the whole thing. Elon's not driving tariffs. If you actually are at Elon levels of wealth, you should not want to you shouldn't even want to play this game of chicken and potentially destroy the economy on which the wealth of your company comes from. Okay? It's not the smart gambit. But if you were doing it, you'd be going through it with the intent of negotiation to remove the tariffs, and not using the tariffs in what I would say the nature that we're using them. Oh, don't get me. Doge is just running amok with AI and whatever they can do. Doge, I don't even want to talk about Doge. What they're doing is fundamentally ridiculous. What they're trying to do is give you a short-term solution to a long-term problem. And that's why I really dislike them. Because if they actually cared about government efficiency, they would be focused on how can we make just tariffs in general, Chen. So any country using tariffs to leverage against another country. It can be a tool, and that's what they did in this experiment, but I don't think that they're being leveraged today as a tool to enter into negotiations. At least I don't feel like they're generally trying to be done as good faith negotiations. I think it's much more, the tariffs of today are much more about political points than actually trying to make things better. And it's the same thing I feel about Doge. Because if Doge was fundamentally focused on efficiency, what they would be focused on is how can we have interagencies communicate better? How can we bring more technology into the government? How can we reduce the amount of forms the American people have to fill out? Hey, Vincent, how you doing? And those would be the kind of changes we would see. What we would see likely would be... Oh, man. I'm not going to touch that one, Omega. Oh, my God. Hey, Daniel, could you just say what your question is here right now? Because I'm here right now. You can just go ahead and ask your question. I'm sorry I didn't get to it. I might have missed it. I am a little behind on comments right now. I mean, the only thing I'll say about libertarianism is the fundamental problem I have with libertarianism is like the fundamental concept of libertarianism is we don't want any government. And what government fundamentally represents is a consensus between people with different views, okay? And so if you don't want to have a consensus between different people with different views, you're effectively, and this actually happened, and you can look it up, you can Google the article, it's called The Town That Went Feral. What fundamentally happens is that nobody agrees on anything. Yeah, we might have to make it a 20-meter table at some point. And then if nobody is willing to have a consensus on anything, then it just means that people take actions that are completely opposite to each other. No, that was actually in New Hampshire. So a bunch of libertarians came and made a city in New Hampshire, and they were having a lot of issues with the bears, but because they're libertarian, right? They didn't have any rules on whether or not you could feed the bears, right? So you had half of the people in the town feeding the bears, the other half of the people in the town shooting the bears, and then they would accuse each other of trying to be statist about it. So fundamentally, they could never come to a consensus on what to do about the bears. And since they never wanted to have a consensus about how to handle the bears, you had half of the people doing, encouraging the bears, and the other half of the people killing the bears. And that to me is the fundamental thing, my fundamental problem with libertarianism. Because if you decide not to govern something, you're just basically letting people do whatever the hell they want, and there's no consensus on the thing. And it's a nice idea, but you end up attracting people with two radically different ideas of addressing the problem. I guess I'm not really familiar with Springfield and Shelbyville. I mean, I know they're both from The Simpsons. Oh, that's what happened. I forgot that detail. But yeah, fundamentally, they don't want the government to be in their way so they can make the decision that they want to make, regardless of what that decision is. Even if that decision could be detrimental to other members of the community. Daniel, I use a very specific thing because of... I use an extremely specific loadout in Idle Kingdom defense because, number one, the only person on my team whose damage matters is Marion. Marion does 99% of the damage. Christian does 1% of the damage. So nobody else's damage matters, so I just put the random heroes in there. Aisha is specifically in my group on the off chance I actually put warriors in. Because if Aisha's in, that way I don't have to remember to add Aisha in if I add warriors in. Ellie is there because she doesn't create any kind of crowd control. All of my team is built around having no crowd control. Oh, it's fine, Alex. We're all here chatting. It's no big deal. I mean, it's not a bad conversation. So, Daniel, I know it doesn't make any sense, but at the end game, if I was doing a minimal hero thing for Idle Kingdom defense, I would only be using 3 heroes. I'd be using Marion. I guess you could say 4. I'd be using Marion, Christian, Luke, and Tristan. Those are the 4 heroes I would need. I don't need any other hero. I chose to keep other heroes on my team because they simply don't do crowd control, which interferes with the monsters running to my castle. And specifically with Aisha, I keep her on the team so that when I put warriors in, they won't die. Because I had issues where I forgot to put Aisha in, and I had to restart the level. So again, for support heroes, I don't care about their damage, because nobody does damage, because Marion does 99% of my damage. I might as well just have her on the team so I never forget to put her in the team. And good night, Alex, and I hope you have a great night and happy farming. Excuse me, I got a little congested there. Hey, Trash, how you doing? This is not, I have a thing in real life that I have to do tomorrow. So when I mentioned I wasn't going to be streaming on Wednesday, some people asked if I could stream on Tuesday. So I was like, well, I'll think about it. And so I thought about it, and here we are streaming today. You're 100% right. This is not the normal time. But I figured we'll do it and then, see what happens. So that's what we're doing. I just have company tomorrow, and since I stream in my living room, I can't, they're going to be here. It's going to be hard for me to stream with them being also in my living room. And it's also going to be kind of weird for me to tell them, hey, you guys got to keep it down for 2 hours so I can have a stream. And, it's not really, it's a complicated situation. And it's a situation I try to avoid getting into. But yeah, we're just chilling doing the tournament. And you have until tomorrow, so don't worry, you haven't missed it. Daniel, did that answer all your questions about why the odd hero placement? I do bring it up from time to time because that is a question I get frequently. I usually talk more about it in King's Ruin. Chen, I won't be streaming tomorrow. That's why I'm streaming now. I can't stream tomorrow. That's the whole reason I'm here now. Because I was like, oh, well, let me try and get this done. And of course, once the tournament's done, I will have to go. Because obviously I need to go to bed. Oh, sorry. I was a little too literal. My bad. Yeah, it is late. I'm actually not too sleepy, but I know I'll be happy to go to bed as soon as I'm done. Because I do need to get some sleep. Well, to be fair, I have to record an episode of Idle Kingdom Defense, and then I'll go to bed. Daniel, are you there? Did that make sense? Oh, hey, Alex, how you doing? Oh, Vincent, you got the. Ooh, you're going. You're getting ready to do Black Hole. Hopefully, BHD works out because BHD I heard is really good once you get there. I'm not there yet. I'm quite a ways away from there. In fact. Now I'm kind of curious where his comment is because I'll reply to his comment as well. I might have gotten behind on comments again, or I might not have seen it. Wait, what do you mean this? Oh, Nevermore. Like, did I not tell you I can't stream tomorrow? I'm gonna have company, so I can't stream tomorrow. So, we were talking about it last stream, and they're like, "Well, why don't you stream on Tuesday?" So I'm like, "Well, okay, I'll stream on Tuesday." So that's why we're here. I usually don't have company, and I try not to have company, but they were coming over, and I didn't want to say like, hey, I need to stream for 2 hours, so you need to be quiet because I stream out of my living room. So this is kind of, here we are. It's a complicated situation. They don't really stream or do anything online, so they're not really interested in that. Well, I mean, if they were actually okay with it, I would do it, but that's not what they're, yeah, they're not interested, I know. Yeah, cells is going to be your hardest part until you get your death wave cooldown. But if you're going between MVN and DC, you probably don't have all the death wave cooldown, especially if you're doing like tier 6. So you're probably going to be with MVN for a while. Even for me to transition to DC, it's not going to be anytime soon. Wow, you're getting closer to tier 16. Congrats. Chen, so if I was gonna say anything about keys, like I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think the issue with keys is fundamentally that quality of life should not be gated behind keys. So like if Fudds was gonna do anything, or if Fudds was gonna listen to me, I would recommend that he doubles the cost of everything in the Power of Harmony, I'm sorry, not the power harmony, excuse me. He doubles the cost and everything in the vault of power. Then he changes the currency for the vault of harmony, and he allows the vault of harmony currency to trickle down to other players through the daily missions, through, I would say, even through like Champions League, maybe even like top Platinum League. And that's the fundamental problem I have with the vault, is too much of the quality of life stuff is locked behind keys, and I really feel like keys are a perfectly fitting currency for the power side. Oh, congrats on your 5-star BHD. But I feel like the harmony side should have been a different currency that was more open to characters of a you know, to characters that are playing the game earlier, you know what I mean? I don't know that lab is the way I would go, because I like it as a different system, right? I don't want to put I wouldn't want to put everything behind labs. But you could easily just take the keys that the harmony tree uses and make them into like harmony stones, right? And then, you know, give out more harmony stones in different ways. And then everybody can participate in the harmony side of the system while leaving keys. And again, I would say you probably double the cost of stuff in the power tree. And then keys are exclusively used for power stuff. And that to me makes total sense, right? If you get your harmony stones, you can spend them on the harmony side. And maybe once you unlock, you know, maybe there's some conversion they could do once you unlock like all of the harmony, you know, maybe if you unlock everything in the harmony tree, you can do conversions from harmony stones to regular power keys or something. I don't really know. But that's how I would, that was my suggestion, and that's been my suggestion for a while. And again, I don't even think that they would need to change anything in the harmony tree. Like, yeah, people might be getting enough keys where they can get the workshop discount, but I don't think that's the end of the world if somebody doesn't have workshop plus unlocked and they get the 2.5% off or whatever it is. I don't think it's 2.5%. I think it's maybe 0.5% off. Like, I don't think that's the end of the world. They just start with a cheaper workshop plus. That should be totally fine. And again, they have to, maybe it's not an immediate benefit for some players, but that's okay. You know? At least that's how I would address it. Because I really would like to see the harmony tree opened up to more of the player base. No, because then you can't have, you couldn't, no, I don't. I actually like the discount that I get for Workshop Plus. I actually really like that. And I think a lot of late game players like it too because of how expensive Workshop Plus is, and there's no other way to get the discount. But I also don't like the idea of giving them the power currency. It does become a problem though because of the nature of the tournaments, right? That basically if the tournaments keep getting, you know, basically the rich keep getting richer, right? I don't have any contact with Fudds. Fudds has never reached out to me or expressed any interest in having a conversation with me. I don't know that means he doesn't look at my suggestions. Like, I don't know enough about the internal workings of the company to say whether or not they look at my videos or not. If I was in Fudds' position and he was listening to my videos, I probably wouldn't even tell anybody anyways that he was listening to my videos, because I just don't see that as, I mean, it's a cool thing for me, but I don't see that as being helpful, you know? I don't know, but we'll see. You know, anything could change, right? See, I really like the idea of the Harmony tree having a currency. I just don't like the currency that the Harmony tree currently uses. I like the idea of getting, whatever the currency is. I like the idea of getting the nodes unlocked as something different than milestones and stuff like that. I actually looked into Xwalla to see if they had an affiliate link, and they don't. I was curious to see. I mean, Xwalla does have an affiliate program, and I signed up for it, but it doesn't. There's no affiliate program with the tower. Nevermore, what tier you probably would get more mileage out of enemy attack skips unless you're going heavy damage. So if you're still going EHP, you will definitely get more mileage out of enemy attack level skips. And I'm not saying he doesn't leverage my channel. I'm saying that if he did leverage my channel and listen to me, and I like to think I have relatively fair and balanced views about things, right? I try to think I'm not like at either extreme. At least I try not to be. I try to kind of look at things from both sides, right? But if I was Fudds, I also wouldn't say that, hey, I watch Zerdin's stream, because I just feel like that doesn't do him any benefit. Because to me, if I was Fudds and I was a developer, I would want to be able to watch Zerdin's stream without knowing Zerdin is thinking he's talking to me. You know what I mean? Where I just want to hear what Zerdin says into the void without thinking it's ever going to reach me, right? Like, just completely unconstrained, unfiltered, constructive criticism, or maybe not always constructive. Maybe sometimes it's just complaining, but I would much rather have a channel like that than telling him telling me, and then that would make it weird. You know what I mean? I think, Toby, the issue is that the game is big enough and doing well enough with its current marketing that they don't feel the need to augment their marketing with people like me. You know? And yeah, Fudds has spoken on things that he probably shouldn't have spoken on. That's absolutely true. But, you can't undelete things. It's out there, you know? I mean, but Nevermore, that's why I said all you have to do to solve that problem is you double the cost of the power tree, right? By doubling, the power tree is already more expensive than the Harmony tree. Right? So if you just double the cost of the power tree, you fundamentally have extended the life the same amount, in my opinion. That's why I said you just double the power tree. There's more stuff that costs keys in there anyways. And then you come back and you give a different currency to the Harmony tree, and that to me balances everything out perfectly, where it's not like all of a sudden, if you just took everybody's keys out of the Harmony tree, they couldn't. I use DM for damage now, Chen. So I have completed the damage mode, or the demon mode card mastery. So now that I have the demon mode card mastery, I pop it at the beginning of the tournament just for the damage boost. I believe my demon mode card mastery is now a 7x damage boost, which is why my damage is now almost 6 trillion. That's actually pretty good for me. Also, I realized I forgot to go and buy stuff in the other slots, but I guess it doesn't matter because everything's maxed out anyways, so that's good. It is for 300 waves, and if you have the maximum level of Demon Mode Recharge is also for 300 waves, so it never falls off. It effectively has 100% uptime. Oh, congrats, Omega. Oh, by the way, missile barrage activation on hit is still bugged. Okay, well, good to know. We can't get that anyways. Oh, rank 5. A boss got me. No, it actually is perfect. It makes perfect sense with the way it is. I did expect this to be a bad tournament for me, just by the way, because I'm starting at a different time, so I don't know if, for example, we're going to see some other people pass me down here. It's going to be hard to say. So we'll see if I hold into top 6. Top 6, obviously really happy with that, but top 8 will be fine too. Especially considering the constraints I'm in right now. I don't know that I'm going to be doing another run though, guys, because I might do another run because I won't stream it though if I do. So we'll see what happens. And let me go reset everything. And then I will be going shortly after resetting everything because I do need to get some sleep. Unfortunately, I have work tomorrow, and I have obviously a busy day tomorrow in general because of everything that's going on. So that's set. That's set. Switch back to farm mode. Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for watching. Give me a second to just finish this up here. I wanted to make sure I didn't mess anything up. We didn't change this. Okay. I will have a great sleep, I'll tell you that. So guys, once again, as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. And if you have any questions, feel free to say something in the comments. I do always look forward to the questions. And as always, thank you again and happy farming. Goodbye, everybody, and I hope you all have a great tournament. You'll get to see what happens on Saturday, or you can look up my bracket. But good night, everybody.